In this video, I'm gonna go over 3 mistakes that we've made in the past that have cost our business thousands. This could save you a bunch of money in the long run if you are aware of these mistakes and potential hazards whenever you're doing residential roof washes like this one. If you stick around until the end of the video, I'm gonna give you a personal experience that we have had on a job that has cost our business thousands to keep from having to go through our insurance and potentially having our insurance costs go up for the business. So stick around to hear more on that towards the end of the video. And if this is your first time ever tuning into the channel, please go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. I would really appreciate it, and it would really help the channel out. Let's get right into it with mistake number 1, not being aware and trying to rush through the job and not paying attention to, where your chemical is going after it's being sprayed on the roof. Now, obviously, we have to use a lot stronger mix for a shingle roof wash than we would on like the typical house wash or something like that. So we typically run, especially on a roof like this, you can see the before picture here. We typically run probably around a 4% on roofs like this one. So it's pretty hot mix. Definitely has the strength to damage some plants or some landscape, and even up to some windows or wood or whatever the case may be. You want to make sure that everything gets pre-wet with just water before you even start spraying. Like we did on this job, before we even pulled the chemical hose off of the truck, I grabbed the pressure hose after the water tank was full enough to start spraying with the tin. We're not pressure washing any plants or anything like that, obviously, but we got it dialed back. We got the throttle dialed back on the pressure washer to where it's not putting out as much as it can, but just enough to be able to get everything wet, soak everything down real good before we start actually spraying chemical. Now, this first thing to be aware of is where your downspouts are coming out at. There's only gutters here on the front of this house. There's a downspout here that you can see that goes into the front of the yard. And there's another downspout over here on the left side that comes out on this side of the front yard. The first thing I started putting water on whenever we got here was the actual grass and yard where the downspout leads to. And I just soaked all this down like with a bunch of water before we started. You want as much grass as possible to soak up as much water as possible before you start spraying. Most of the potential hazards on this particular job are right here in the front yard, so don't really have to go too far from the front yard whenever we are spraying this roof. You can obviously see here that Kale was using the neighbor's hose pipe at one point to water the neighbor's landscaping, and that brings me to mistake number 2 that we have seen people make. And we have actually made this mistake before in the past. Luckily, we were able to discuss this with the customer and let them know, like, hey, we didn't feel comfortable spraying the actual neighbor's stuff with water or anything without letting them know we're watering their landscape, because that pretty much made us aware that, and made us think like no neighbor is actually going to be upset if you're watering their plants and trying to protect their property due to overspray from cleaning the roof next door. So, lesson learned on our part, and this is definitely something that could save you a bunch of money in the end. If you are working a roof or a house wash and the houses are this close together, that is definitely something to be aware of. And I can almost guarantee you that no neighbor of the job that you're doing is going to be upset or mad at you if you are trying to protect their property, if it's a windy day like this one. So we're definitely sure to spray everything that could get overspray on it, all of their landscape, all of their windows, the sidings of their houses like this. We don't want to spray any bleach on the roof of the job that we're doing, have overspray get on the side of their house like right here, and leave it spotted up or anything like that, because at the end of the day, you can say that we're being too nice, but we don't want to spot anybody's house up next to the job that's actually paying us to do the work. So if you spot the job up and they say something about it, chances are to keep a good name for yourself. You're going to be back over there to do a free house wash, or at least for that wall. So that is something to be cautious of whenever you are doing houses like this within this close of proximity of each other. Is always just be aware of the neighbor's landscaping and home, and be aware that wherever you're spraying chemical on, especially if it's a 4%, that whatever it touches, it will clean or damage. So be cautious of that. That brings me straight into number 3. Now, the third mistake that I'm about to share with you, and the one that has cost us thousands of dollars in the past, it did cost us about $2,500. We were doing a roof wash for a guy. He did have the same colored gutters as this almost. And we had done this house in the past, like one of the first years that we were in business. and nothing really happened to his gutters or anything. We did do his roof. That was about 4 or 5 years ago. So he had us back out to do his roof again. As soon as we started spraying the roof with chemical, I was going behind our helper at the time to rinse the gutters off, because all of these painted gutters like this, if they're not white, whenever chemical hits them, they will leave spots or streaks or pull paint like it did in this case if you do not come right behind the chemical and rinse. I did come right behind our helper and rinse the gutters off, but as soon as the ball valve would hit them at a pressure like this, I wasn't using any direct or high pressure. I was just trying to rinse the gutters with the ball valve. It was rinsing the paint off of the gutters. That's how oxidized they were, and pretty much stripped all of his gutters in the front of his house. As we were trying to rinse them off with the ball valve, you can see in the pictures here and this little short clip that I took, it was pretty bad. So, you know, it's not really something that we can control. Yes, we probably should have done a test spot first to check to see if they were oxidized. They didn't appear to be oxidized whenever we first made it to the job, but we went to hit them with the ball valve. It peeled almost all the paint off, and then the homeowners asked if we had something that could, I don't know if he was trying to see if we could maybe repaint the surface, but we definitely couldn't repaint the surface. We didn't have any paint, for one, and we're not a painting company, so we're not going to cause more issues by trying to apply paint to gutters after we've stripped the paint on all of them. So he asked if we had something that could basically take the oxidation off or bring the color back to its original color of his gutters. I said, no, sir. I said, oxidation removal or anything like that is not going to help the gutters in this case. Being that it's a metal surface underneath the paint, you know, it's pretty much stripping the paint off. I said, any kind of oxidation removal or anything like that that we try to put on these is just going to make it worse. It's just going to strip the paint completely off, and I don't recommend doing it. I said, we do oxidation removal. We do have a product from the truck that we use for oxidation removal on vinyl or hardy plank, you know, surfaces like that. It's not made for aluminum gutters that are oxidized or that have bad paint on them from if you ever had them repainted or anything like that. So we asked if we could try it out, and it was not a very good result. It ended up stripping the paint completely off of the gutter in a few areas that it was still painted. So it definitely didn't end up well, and we ended up doing the whole job for free. It was a full package job, and to help pay for his gutters to be repainted, just to keep our name out of his mouth, we did end up just giving him the job for free. So at the end of the day, he got a free roof wash, free house wash, and a free driveway cleaning, and it was around a $2,200 full package job. We would have much rather just eat the labor cost and the chemical cost instead of him blasting our name all over maybe social media somewhere or Facebook, because it only takes one time for somebody to blast your name. And if you haven't had this happen to you before, then it could definitely ruin your name very quickly. We had an instance where a lady didn't tell us to put degreaser down on her carport to remove some oil stains, and we asked her about it. She said, no, you don't have to worry about putting degreaser, because normally we do charge degreaser as an upsell if we are putting that down, just because it's a separate chemical that we're not typically using. We do tell them that, you know, it's not going to clean up completely, but it will clean up for the most part if we do apply a degreaser, but it is also an upcharge due to having to use a separate chemical than bleach or surfactant. She said, no, that's okay, you don't have to put it down. We surface cleaned under her carport. It didn't clean up completely, and she ended up blasting our name on Facebook, and we had to call her, and she was asking other local soft wash companies, you know, how would they go about getting this to clean up. And within a matter of probably about an hour, the post that she had made had around 60 or 70 shares. So we hurried up, we called her, we asked her to just kind of delete the post, you know, because we had originally told her that we weren't going to put degreaser because she didn't want us to, she didn't want to pay for it. And then we ended up going back out there, putting degreaser down, and ended up doing that for free as well, just so she wouldn't make any more Facebook posts about us, because there wasn't really anything that we did wrong. We made her aware of the situation. We made her aware that it would be an upsell. And for some reason, she still blasted us all over Facebook because we didn't use a degreaser or anything like that inside of her carport to try to further clean the grease and oil stains that were on the concrete surface in her garage. It's great to make the customer aware. Just be aware that whenever you do make them aware, if you don't have anything in writing or something showing them that you know, you previously told them this, like text messages or through Quote IQ, this is a great way that you can tell your customers about situations and certain circumstances, what to be aware of, things that they need to maybe move out of the way before you get there. Send them professional looking estimates, invoices, and also put your terms and conditions in the bottom of every estimate and have your customer sign it. That's what we do with every single job that we pick up, from whether it's a prior customer or future customers that come through Google or whatever. We do send them an estimate, and on that estimate, for them to accept that estimate, they have to sign it. It shows up in the accepted tab on Quote IQ, and we're able to get back with them and schedule it for a day that works for both us and them. If you've never heard of Quote IQ or you've never used it, it's a great app to use, great way to cover your business and yourself. Go check it out. It'll be the first link in the comment section and the description. And if you want to know how we pick jobs up like this, go check out the second link in the comment section and the description. That'll be a link to the blueprint to $100,000 to show you everything on how to set your Google page up, how to optimize your business on Google, and how to run ads effectively at little to no cost so you can land jobs and stay busy year round. So go check that out. Second link in the comment section and the description. Until next time, my name is Jacob. Y'all stay happy, humble, and money hungry.